Who remembers the BJ and Bill
Welcome
show
to BJ
all
and
those
Bill,
years
the
ago on
podcast, a part of the
WOLZ?
Podcast
Well, many have said
Playground
they
Network.
missed
We
the
thank them
show,
so much
and
for,
guess what?
well, hosting
They're
our
back.
podcast over there
Welcome
at
to the BJ and
Podcast
Bill
Playground.
podcast.
Also, please give us that 5-star review. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you do your podcasting. And, of course, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill the Podcast. And as always, you can email us, bjandbillthepodcast@gmail.com. As we welcome you, I can't believe it, episode 129.
It's a big number. It's a big, big number. It sure is. Yeah, 129.
I can't believe we've been doing this for over 2 years now.
It's gonna be three. It's gonna be three real soon. Yeah, you posted. You sent me a text message or a Facebook messenger. I don't know what you sent me a message, whatever, of when you and I had lunch down in Claremont, and it was one of those memories. You know, Facebook resurfaces your memories a year ago, and I'm like, a year? It's been a year since we had lunch down in Claremont, and it's like, wow, time flies. Time just
I know,
flies.
and they say the older you get, the faster it goes.
I believe that. I do. And I always said this. I said, and I don't know if anybody else has ever had this theory. Maybe it's me. Maybe I own this. Who knows? Maybe I'll win the Nobel Prize. When you're 10 years old, 1 year is 10% of your life. Or when you're 9, whatever. You know what I mean? When you're 10 years old, 1 year is 10% of your life. When you're 100 years old, 1 year is 1% of your life. So it seems it seems like time is flying because that actually, as a total part of your life, the years are getting shorter, literally. So I don't know.
Thanks
Call
for
the
telling
Nobel
me
Prize
that.
Committee. I know. It doesn't believe me. I had another one of those discussions with my pickleball friends the other night that I was the oldest guy playing pickleball on Saturday. I was the oldest guy there. And so, yeah, that, of course, led to some crude jokes, but that's okay. I'm happy to take them because I'm an old guy and I can still get out and play pickleball. So I'm good with that.
You know, it just, I will do this every once in a while. Like we'll have a vacation or something, you know, exciting that we're going to do. And I will sit there and go, oh man, only 2 more days. Then I'm thinking, why am I going only 2 more days? Why am I getting excited for 2 more days to pass? I should be going, oh, it's 2 more days. I hope this takes a while before we get to do this exciting new event.
Why? Why would you say that?
Because why? Well, it's like, you know, when you're going on a vacation or something. Oh man, next week we're going on vacation. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well,
Like a
now I'm
little
trying
kid,
to say, yeah. Now at my age, now when I start to say something like that, I'm going, no, I don't want to rush the days. It can take
there you
its
go.
time.
Don't want to rush it. Exactly. I always had friends and I never had kids. So you can tell me if this is true or not, that you never told the kid you were going to Disney World in a week or a month, because it's going to be a month from hell. It's going to be, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? You just tell them like the day before, hey, tomorrow we're going to Disney World. Oh, awesome. And then you lose one night's sleep and then you're on your way.
I have some cousins in Indiana that do that. They will like physically wake up the day that they're ready to fly out. You know, they will already have the kids packed and everything.
Right.
And the kids will be going, where are we going? Oh, you'll find out. And there's been times, because they've actually filmed this, they will be getting on an airport and the kids will be like, why are we getting on a plane? What are we doing? And they've been on the plane and said, you know why we're on this plane? No, why are we going this plane? And they'll go, because we're going to Disney World. And then the kids will just,
see, that's it right there. Then the kids explode and it's like, yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Good thing the kid couldn't read the airport sign, you know, flight from here to Orlando. Uh-oh. So yeah.
But
it's cool.
I think they've done that twice now. They've they always post that, and it's like, oh my gosh, that is like the coolest. I wish we would have did that with our kids.
Uh-huh. It is hilarious. It really is. I mean, but sometimes to keep peace around the house, it's probably not a bad idea.
Now, I don't want to talk bad about our boss,
About your son? No, we don't want to talk bad about your son. He is your son and our boss.
I never will forget this though. We went to Disney World.
Okay.
I think it was one of those DJ fun days, where they brought DJs in from across the state of Florida and they let us run
Right.
around for the
Right.
weekend for free.
Right.
And he's all excited because he's a kid.
Of course.
And here we are, we're like pulling into Orlando, maybe even getting ready to pull into our hotel. And all of a sudden he goes, Dad, I didn't bring any shoes.
It's gonna hurt walking around Disney World in your bare feet all day. Yeah. How do you leave the house without your shoes? I guess you could when you're a kid.
Yeah, he was excited. He was a kid, you're in Florida. Right. Who wears shoes in Florida when you're a kid in the summertime running around?
Good point. Good point.
Dad, I forgot my shoes. So we had to go like to an outlet mall or something.
Yeah. Walmart nearby. Of course, back in the day might not have been a Walmart nearby, but yeah, I get it. That's not.
Yeah, so we had to go find somewhere to buy him shoes before the magical experience began.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's terrific.
Oh, we'd only had cell phones back then. Dad, I forgot my shoes.
Yeah, see that kids, listen to what Mr. Odom just said. There was a time in life before we had cell phones, before you could pick up the phone and talk or text or send pictures or video to whoever you want, wherever you want on the planet. It was a real thing, and we survived. I don't know how.
And if you really want to take the kids back, I remember when my kids were small.
Yes.
And probably my son was maybe 7, 8 years old. It was our very first one, but it was a camcorder, which is what you call a giant camera that you'd put, a VCR tape in,
Yes.
So you knew how big it had to be because the VCR tape went into this recording device.
Right.
And people would carry these around the, amusement parks and places because they'd be, and it's like nowadays, if you go into a television station, those used to be, even big,
huge.
cameras.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now they're like, the size of your fist a lot of times.
Pretty much.
They're like itty bitties. And, but yeah, we'd carry that big heavy thing around and, look at the kids. They're on Goofy.
And you had to have enough tapes because then the tape would only record for 3 hours and then you had to put another tape in it or something and hope your batteries didn't die along the way and all that stuff. I still have some VHS tapes I'm sure I'm going to say everybody, people of our age probably still, do you anywhere or have you turned them all into digital?
My wife has done the digital route and took almost all of them and put them. Now, if you really want to get old, my parents, I remember they had the old, what were they called? 8mm. It was actually film with no sound.
Oh, with sound.
No, without sound.
Without sound. No, without sound. Yeah, my father had a Super 8 camera. Yes. And I might even still, if I do, I'm sure the film is useless. I was going to say I might even still have some film. I know I have VHS tapes because we did a VHS tape of my mother and father's 50th wedding anniversary party. And I know that's around. And I know there might be some VHS tape of my wedding, but I don't think so. I know there is some of my brother's wedding, but I've already given that to his kids. So yeah, there was a few VHS tapes, and I'm pretty sure there are still a few more sitting around in storage bins here for me. And I need to turn them all into digital, like your wife did there. You just
and she even
send
did
them
that
off to somebody, right? You just mail them off, and they mail you back a DVD.
Yeah, I don't know where she mailed them, but that's what she did.
Yeah.
And they actually you can order it like on a thumb drive now.
On a thumb drive, that would be even better. Yeah, because then you could put it right on your computer and save it forever. And Yeah, that I need to do that. I need to do that before the tapes turn to to dust.
Now, also, this was quite a few years ago, though. My wife also, and I think yeah, were they turned into Were they turned into VHS or were they? Yeah, I think it was because there really wasn't digital back then. But when Gentry was just like a little whippersnapper, just learning how to talk, I don't want to give away his age, but it was a long, long time ago.
It was last year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, last year we
When he
had
learned to
these 8 millimeter tapes of him, at a playground. And my mom was still alive, and
Right.
my dad was there, and those were some precious moments. And yeah, the wife got those. I don't know, she got them, but they eventually got put to digital now. But I mean,
Yeah, cool.
and those
Yeah.
are some pretty cool moments, And I mean,
Absolutely.
that's when we lived in Kentucky, and he was just learning how to talk. And he said, I like the Kentucky Wildcats. Because, he ran around with all these kids in the apartment complex, and they were all like, little Southern,
Wildcat
down in Kentucky. And he talked just like them. I like them Kentucky Wildcats. Remember that?
I lived in Kentucky for a year, right after college. A buddy of mine, Mr. Kent Jones, shout out to Kent Jones, was working in Owensboro, Kentucky, a little itty bitty town. I've probably mentioned this before, but I ended up working there for not quite a year, but I worked there with him and at the radio stations, the AM and the FM. I always thought that was a cool Southern accent. It's not crazy hard, like Southern Georgia and Alabama and all that, but Kentucky accent's kind of cool. It's kind of not, I liked it. What am I saying? I don't know. So anyway,
You
just
were
my story.
farther,
I'm
you
sticking
were
to it.
further north than I was too when you were in Kentucky.
Owensboro is right literally on the Ohio River. So yes, if you got in a boat and went east, you'd end up in Cincinnati eventually. But it was quite a ways out. But yes, it was out there. So it
Yeah,
was,
I was in Manchester, Kentucky, next to London, Kentucky,
ah,
way down there south where, like like on a Saturday afternoon, sometimes we just, pop down to like Maggie Valley, and not Maggie Valley,
right,
but
right.
like the Smoky Mountains, basically.
Yeah, very nice, very
We'd
nice.
go visit Dolly. Although we didn't know Dolly, so
Before
we couldn't.
Dollywood was a thing. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, we could just run down there like
right,
it was within an hour. I know we were there,
right.
like 45
No,
minutes.
mine was way out, way far west. My town, Owensboro, Kentucky, the county, I don't remember, I don't even know what county or parish or whatever it's in, but the time zone line ran through the county. So when you did a story or you reported on when things would change, you always had to say local time because half the town was on Eastern time and half the town was on Central time. So, or not town, but county. Yeah, it was interesting. So yeah. That was a million years ago. That was Bill 1.0.
I
That
don't
was
even
way
think I
back.
was. I don't think I was a point anything at that point.
Mm.
But I
Yeah, that might have
remember.
been 0.1 or something. Yeah.
I remember the town. Like you would. I mean, it was like exciting time in my life because it was my first programming job.
Right.
But it was a little dinky town,
Oh yeah.
and it
Oh
was a
yeah.
coal mining town. And I never
Oh,
will forget this because I'd never been around coal mining. And you would go in the stores, and coal dust was like everything you touched was just like this coal dust. And
Wow.
it was like, oh
Wow.
my gosh, this is, but people lived there. And they, like we were there about 6 months, I think. And well, we were in one of those towns where if somebody said they were going to shoot you, they were going to shoot you.
Right. They weren't kidding. They weren't kidding.
And if someone liked you, they liked you. You were family, It was like,
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but it was it was a scary point in my life. Let's just say that.
Let's just leave it a scary place.
I
get
had
it.
not been any place like that in my entire life.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was different, people. I don't know how it is today, but back in the 70s, it was different.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I think I've told the story before. I went to, we moved into town. I had to get an apartment. And, the guy who ran the radio station, who was a judge in town,
Right.
told me that the nicest, well, there was only like, I think, two complexes in the whole damn town. And he said, "Oh, this one is this is where you want to be. If you're going to get an apartment, you want to go here.
Right.
Here, go talk to what's her name." And she'll say, "Yeah." I go down there and they go, "Oh, no, we're completely booked up. It's going to take us at least 6 months to a year before we could get you in." I go back to the radio station, told, the boss, I can't get in. They said it'd be at least 6 months to a year. There's a waiting list.
Right.
Picks up the phone. Says, "Hey, I just sent a guy down there to get an apartment. He's going to work for me here at the radio station. He says there's a waiting list and it's going to be 6 months to a year." Then he hung up and he goes, "Go back down there. They got an apartment for you." I don't know. I don't know if they threw somebody out. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because, I was somebody from out of town. They didn't know
You
me.
weren't nobody. You were nobody. BJ Odom did not matter. It's the guy on the other end of the phone.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
Oh, man. Chip, I'm so sorry. I told you there was a waiting list. I mean, I got the royal treatment after that. And I'm going,
Of course
oh,
you did.
my goodness.
Of course you did. It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends.
You thought I was Elvis Presley or something.
I haven't watched it yet, but I feel like I want to. The Netflix, is it Netflix or Amazon Prime series with Sylvester Stallone called Tulsa King.
Oh, I've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah. Where he's kind of like the king of the small town. He's like the boss of like a little, because I like him, of course, but yeah, I need to watch some more of that. That's pretty funny. So anyway, yes, that was your guy. Every small town, I am positive that the smaller the town, the bigger I'm not going to say the bigger the fish, but it doesn't take much to be a big fish. And when he's the judge and the owner of the radio station and the whatever, he's got a couple of dollars and a couple of friends, and his word is the law. That period. Yeah. Period. So
and that's what it was.
And that's what it was. And you just want to, like you said, you just want to be on the right side of those people. That's all. You want to stay friends.
Yeah.
So,
well,
there you go.
Can't remember his name nowadays. That's how long ago it was.
I'm sure he's long gone by now, but yeah.
That
I don't know.
That might have been like I'm trying to think. It was my early days in radio. I had worked at a few radio stations, but not that many. And I thought, because it wasn't people, it wasn't like the Clear channels and all those others where, when you own like 5 stations in town,
right?
You might own an AM and an FM.
Right.
Well, this was the AM and the FM, and little BJ was hired as, and the title is big, but there it really didn't mean squat. I was the operations manager.
Wow, yeah. Nice.
I did mornings on the Big Rock FM.
Right.
And the Country AM I was also in charge of.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was in charge of all the personnel, all the on-air people, which was like, well, back those days, you had to have somebody at the station 24/7.
Absolutely.
So, everybody, usually did, 4 to 6 hour shifts back in those days.
Yep.
So imagine, and some weekend people. I had them all.
Sure. You were a big deal.
They were under my command.
You were a big deal. Big, fat, hairy deal, as Garfield would say. Yes, I know. Well, and again, same thing in Owensboro. I mean, I don't remember who owned. Well, I do remember who owned it because there was a newspaper and there was a cable company, and the newspaper owned one AM and FM, and the cable company owned the other AM and FM. And I worked for the one that had the cable company, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was it. That was it. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but it's.
Well, I just remember too my first job at Wink FM, because it was Wink FM, Wink AM. That's before
right.
They owned like 4 or 5 stations.
Right.
But it was just Wink FM,
right.
Wink AM, and they owned a television station. Oh my God, the company I'm working for owns a
AM/FM,
television station?
AM/FM TV. Yeah,
Now
yeah.
that's when I thought I had hit the height of my career. I didn't think there was anywhere, I didn't think there was any higher I could go.
That was, and you were right. That was pretty much the top. That was pretty much it. Yes, I remember it well, all of it. I remember all of it well. So that's good. That's yeah, of course when I was in Fort Myers it was, 96 Super Q and it was one owner and one station and one of everything and that was enough. So, it was fun. It was great fun.
Enough with radio. Let's find out what Bill is doing because, well, I got to admit, on the weekends, you must be like just pulling your hair out. There is no football.
No football. It's
I
been
got
tough.
wrestling. I mean, wrestling. I know I
Wrestling.
started watching a new show last night that was pretty cool. It was like these guys that want to make it in the wrestling business, and they have four superstars in the world of wrestling helping them train and
Oh, of
deciding,
course.
oh, you're never going to make it. Get the hell out of here, you
Right.
know. But it was yeah. So, but what have you been doing? Because like there's been no football, nothing at all.
No.
What does Bill even have weekends anymore?
Well, like I said, I've been playing a lot of pickleball on Saturday, but Sunday, and of course we record this on a Monday. Last night, Sunday night, had the big networks like TNT and ESPN are finally recognizing that hey, those Cleveland Cavaliers, they're pretty good. Yeah, they have the best record in the NBA. So I got to watch my Cavaliers beat the very tough, very strong Memphis Grizzlies last night. It was a very good game. And then I see that Cleveland's going to be on again with Boston later in the week. So basketball, it's a hoops time. It's hoops time. That's about it. And I'm not a huge basketball fan, although as you and I have we started last year. We started watching a lot of the college games and the ladies' games and stuff like that. So that's what's keeping me in front of my TV nowadays. It's not much, believe me, not much. So
Yeah, because well, Golden State, they did make a good move with Jimmy Butler, but I don't know yet. Well, time will tell if they're a championship team. Also, the Lakers made, I'm on the wrong coast
you are,
because
you
of
really are.
anybody that I follow all the West Coast teams. Those
Yeah,
are the ones that I root for, the Lakers. And that's only because my son's tie is with the Lakers.
right.
And, his tie is with the big guy.
With Shaq, of course. Yes.
That was another one of my memories on Facebook I did not long ago. That was an opportunity that just fell into his lap when Gentry was being the road manager for Shaquille,
Mm-hmm.
when he was out on the road with him all the time.
Right.
Shaq, he would always go up though and DJ for like maybe 5-10 minutes. And then Shaq would come up and take over and the crowd would go nuts.
Right. Right. Right.
At the Staples Center, when they did the tribute for Kobe Bryant as he retired, his
Mm-hmm.
retirement party.
Mm-hmm.
So this Staples Center, all these basketball bigwigs were there.
Right.
I mean, anybody and everybody from the world of the NBA was there.
Right.
And they had, the DJ booth set up and they were playing music and, Gentry was playing some light kind of background cocktail music, in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, it was supposed to be Shaq's time to come up there.
Right.
And Shaq comes up, he goes, "Hey, boy, I just know a whole lot of people here and I'm just real busy. So you're going to have to do this without me. I got too many people here I need to talk to. So you don't mind, do you?" Yeah. So basically there was a big party and he got to DJ the whole thing in front of all these, NBA.
Full of big name people. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was the DJ that was up there just spinning the tunes and getting them dancing and
Nice.
making announcements. And so I'm going, oh, that was a pretty good gig.
Yeah. Right. That was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. But yes,
And,
you are on the wrong coast. You really you need to live out west so you don't have to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning and watch. I know you don't stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, to see all this stuff, I get it.
Yeah.
To me, I watch whatever's on. And if like I said, if Cavaliers are on, I'll watch that. It's not must-see TV, but I'm interested. And if it happens at a reasonable time, I'll put it on. So I did. There you go.
Speaking of must-see TV, when you talk basketball, I was watching a little college hoops yesterday, and that I didn't get to see the ending because I guess it turned out to be a pretty wild game. But I've said many times on this podcast that I was raised in Indiana. And so I was always a Bobby Knight fan. And, Indiana was playing Purdue. One of the biggest rivals, of course, in that area ever is Purdue and Indiana. Right. And Purdue has the better team this year. They started flat, and then they, got ahead. And then Indiana out of nowhere put it in high gear at the end and beat them. But here's a cool story if you are a Bobby Knight fan. Now, even the television commentators are going, is it or is it not? But it was like 30 years ago, I think, or maybe more. It was the anniversary of Bobby Knight, and it was a Purdue game also where Indiana was playing Purdue. Bobby Knight picked up the chair, the infamous throw
the chair. You see that everywhere. Well, not so much anymore, but yeah, that's like one of the classic videos of college basketball.
The IU coach, because they had different seating, it was more modern.
Right.
The IU coach, it must be on display or something there at the school for that particular game because it was the anniversary of the date. And I forget what year it was.
Wow. But
the coach sat on that particular chair during the game.
That's awesome. What did they have it in a museum somewhere?
And even the commentator goes, "Do you think that's really the chair?" He says it's the chair. He goes, "Yeah." I don't, they're going, "Well, I don't know. I is it still around after all those years?"
How would you know, right? How would you know? Unless some janitor or some grounds crew or one of the kids, that you always see out there mopping up the floor or whatever, one of those kids like scooped up the chair and dragged it off to the side and saved it or gave it to one of the maintenance guys. But yeah, that would be hard to prove, right? Yeah.
Who knows though? It might be hanging in the coach's office.
If it were me, it would absolutely have a place of honor somewhere.
That's what I'm thinking.
The chair that Bobby Knight threw on the court.
Yeah, I'm thinking somebody grabbed, can you imagine how much money you could get for that chair? Probably.
My gosh.
People buy memorabilia.
Memorabilia. Hard to say. But yes, totally true. Oh my gosh. That'd be awesome.
But that was
worth a lot of money.
That was one of the coolest moments, though. Hearing them talk about, well, first they showed it, obviously. And then they showed the chair and they go, yeah, the coach has brought this out on whatever anniversary it was and will be sitting in the chair coaching the game.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome. It really is. So yeah, good for them. Good for those sorts of things, that history or whatever. I mean, even if it's funny stuff like that, that always amuses me. That always catches my attention. I guess because I've been around, you and I have both been around long enough to know when the original whatever it was happened. It's like, oh, I was there or I saw that or whatever. Everybody always says that. I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. I did see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. What else were you going to watch on a Sunday night? So yeah, it's history. It's just fun to know that you have a piece of history there. So, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Speaking of the Beatles.
Uh-oh.
I could give you a little bit of information, but I think it's about break time here.
It is about break time. I was just going to say that. Yep. And so have you been hearing